The struggles of race, homosexuality, abuse. My own colleague, Don Lemon, covers all three of these tough topics in this new book he's written. It's called Transparent. And in the book, Don talks about his own life growing up as a black man from the Deep South, his journey through the world of television news, which landed him, as you see him all the time here at CNN at the national anchor desk. And through this book, he opens up about his walk through life, which comes with many battles lost and won, and the many, many lessons he learned along the way. And now we get to talk to Don Lemon. There he is, live in New York. And Don, you know, I know this is probably tough stuff to have to talk about on TV, let alone, you know, writing about in your own book. You write, you know, the book's called Transparent, and that's precisely what you are, especially when it comes to the whole storyline about being sexually abused by a teenage neighbor. How long did that happen to you?
It went on from, I guess I was about 4 or 5 years old until about 3 or 4 years before my dad died. My dad died when I was 7. And so it went on until my teens, until I started to go to junior high school or so. So it went on for a couple of years. But my mom remarried after my real dad died, and we moved out of that neighborhood, and that sort of took me out of the purview of my abuser. So it went on for quite some time.
I want you to do me a favor, because this is much better in your own words than mine. Yeah. I want you to read this excerpt from the book where you talk about that part of your life.
Okay, so you want me to do this. I wanted you to read it, but I will do it.
You're reading it.
And I have to tell you, I'm a little nervous. I've never really talked about this on national television before, so it's kind of weird to be on a show
talking about yourself,
anchor, and talking about myself. So it's a little odd here, but this is from the book.
Okay.
And it said, what had started at my grandmother's house as a rare but painful experience became a sad and frequent part of my life. I was 30 years old before I even told my mother what happened to me. The shame, the confusion, and the sense of humiliation runs that deep and becomes that twisted. Even though some experts estimate that nearly a third of all adults were molested as children, they can't be sure. Childhood sexual abuse often goes unreported and unpunished. Most children who are molested know their abusers, which was the case for me. And that was a neighbor, one of my mom's very dear friends. It was her son, and he was older than me, and that was my abuser, and I didn't want to tell anyone because I thought that I was doing something wrong. And, you know, he would threaten us and say, you know, I'll just say it's your fault.
So you were, but Don, you said you were 5 when this started. You say in this, you were 30 before
I don't
you
really remember how old. Yeah, I don't remember how old I was. I think, as I said, I think I may have been. It could have been younger than that, but from what I remember, I know it was a few years before my father passed, and my father died when I was 7 years old. So,
and so you were
it started
30
when I was very young.
But you were 30 before you could even tell your mom, who I know you talk about all the time. You're so close with her, yet it's something you held so close to the vest. Yeah. Why?
Because you don't want to think about it, you know, and that is the last thing that a man wants to talk about, is being abused as a child, especially when it happens from, you know, by someone who's a male, another male. But let me just say this, and I'll go on to continue to talk about that. Some people will try to equate being gay with being abused, and the two couldn't be further apart, because most abusers are heterosexual, and they choose children from the opposite sex. So those two are not connected. They just happen to be the road that I travel. It happens to be part of my life. And I figured if I'm going to be a journalist and I'm going to ask people to tell me the truth, and I'm going to try to expose truth, then I need to be truthful about who I am. Not that it's some confession that I need to make. I'm not ashamed of who I am.
Yeah.
And you know, Brooke, certainly, you and I are friends, and you certainly know about me.
Yeah.
And most people at work do know about me, but it's not something people talk about. It's like the neighbor. It used to be, oh, my neighbors are really nice people. Do you know they're black? And you whisper about it, but it's something you don't say. So why not talk about it? And that's why I wrote the book. Why not?
So you're talking about it. You wrote the book. I noticed, though, also, Don, you dedicated the book to Tyler Clementi, who we talked a lot about here at CNN. He was that Rutgers freshman who committed suicide after his roommate, right, like streamed him inside his dorm room with another guy online. He killed himself.
His roommate and his dorm mates, his roommate and his dorm mates, they put up a webcam and got him in a compromising position with his friend, whoever it was. I'd just like to say they put his personal business online for the world to see, and he couldn't handle it. He had to deal with the repercussions for people who I'm sure were making fun of him, were mocking him, and then worrying about his privacy being streamed online and where that would go. And so he jumped off a bridge. But there are many, he's not the only one it happens to. There are many young people who do that, and especially gay teens are 3 or 4 times more likely to commit suicide than most teenagers. But teenagers are susceptible anyway, more susceptible than just about anyone. But gay teens are even more susceptible. So, you know, if there are, hang on one second, Brooke, if there were people like me who, or I'm nervous about it, and I don't know what's going to happen, but who chose to live their life honestly and not have to lie and not have to not talk about it, if that had happened for me when I was young, then it wouldn't have taken me 45 years to get to this point, and there wouldn't be people like Tyler Clementi, teenagers.
You use the word nervous. Why nervous? And I know also part of the book, maybe, and this is part of the answer, is you say it was particularly tough because being a black man. Why?
Yeah. Well, because, I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, an African-American anchor, my base is, one would think, would be African-Americans, would be black folks, as we say. And so that's it. And in the black community, I mean, quite honestly, it's the worst thing that you can be in the culture, is to be a gay man, because men are supposed to be masculine, they're supposed to be the head of the family, they're supposed to be, you know, these tough guys. And there is this assumption that because someone is gay, that they are feminine or effeminate, or they are not a man. There's nothing about me that wants to be a woman. I don't want to wear a dress, I don't want to wear makeup, except for the powder, the little bit that I put on for television. I don't even want to wear that. So it's not about being a woman, it's not about being effeminate. It's about doing what is natural and living in what's natural to you. So people will say that it's not natural, but natural means in your nature, and in my nature is what I am. And so in black culture, because of the church, because of, I guess, racism and how people have been treated in the past here in the United States.
It's just tough.
You know, we are suffering, as African Americans, we are suffering the sort of vestiges of that. And all of that comes with African Americans who don't want to accept it, who think that they can pray the gay away, that the church can somehow beat this out of you, that it doesn't exist. And that is all just a bunch of bull. Well,
Don Lemon, as you said, we are friends. And I love that, you know, you are who you are, on TV, off TV. And that's one of the really special things about you. And I salute you for being so transparent and honest in your book, and hopefully you will help others as they read your own story. Transparent, Don Lemon. I know you have a busy next couple of days in New York, but thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Brooke, and your words really mean a lot. They're very powerful, and for all the people who have sent me emails and Facebooks, and messages and tweets and texts, thank you so much. I haven't had a chance to read not even a third of them because I've been stuck on an airplane all day, but thank you so much. I really appreciate the support, and I hope you continue to support not only me, but other people who choose to come out.
Don Lemon, thank you.
Thank you.